Commission. It's about 11 o'clock. Can we have our pledge of allegiance first?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Did I say it down now? Sorry, board.
It's okay.
I'm
think
so
my-
used to
I didn't,
My
Karen.
being here messed it up.
That's
Sorry
it.
about that.
This is the Environmental Commission. Can we have the approval of the minutes, or anybody have a comment on the minutes of November 23rd? Everybody, I guess, has a copy of them. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second? Second. In favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Okay. I know it's inconvenient with these masks, but we'll have to do the best we can, loosen up this meeting, calm it down, loosen it up a little bit. Next thing on the agenda is, we have our new council liaison, Mike Yeager. Welcome, Mike.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Anything you want to say? Anything?
Not really. I just, I'm here to be the connection between you and council. So you guys, at all times, let me know what you want to get to council, and I will make sure that what council wants gets to you. So, and to the extent that you want me to participate, let me know, but I kind of look at myself as, as an observer here, and I'll comment when appropriate, I guess, but I will be your communicator.
Like it? Listen, this is a pretty open meeting. Anybody wants to say anything about anything, there's no protocols here, or let's just be as informal as we can. If you want to say something, you can do something. Let's not keep it that stodgy. Okay? Anything else you want to say? That's it? We're good?
No, other than, looks like you had a very good 2021, pretty lot of accomplishments then, and the outline for 2022 looks good. So I'm looking forward to hearing how we're going from here.
Been around a while.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good thing, and I think it's a good idea that we keep it moving forward. Next on the agenda, Justine Margaret.
Justine emailed me last night and said that she was still out of town.
Okay.
And she was sorry to miss her first meeting, but she was going to try listening on next week.
Do we actually have a list of all our planning, of our commission members?
Members?
Do we have a list of that?
I do, and but I don't have any.
Members of this committee, I'm not sure, but I mean, I'd like to, everybody ought to at least get a copy of it. Okay.
Yeah, I have a list. It was unclear to me. I believe Judy King, I know, had backed out, I understand, and Dottie Rogers was a question mark. I'm not sure why she was given to me, but that was probably,
So Judy's not on the board, not on the commission anymore?
She's been reappointed, but
personal conversation with her, believe, indicated that she would like to, she'd like to give somebody else the chance. So she has, if she did not officially resign from the board, she let me know through my wife that she wasn't going to continue on.
I saw her email that said that also.
Okay.
and Evelyn said that she had an appointment rescheduled and she'll be here as soon as she can.
Okay. So the rest of it looks good.
Next item is my report from the planning board. We have a meeting tonight. The only item that we really are going to do, an application to extend, I believe, the Jetty Motel. Gretchen had prepared a report on behalf of the committee of what we thought that ought to be brought up in front of the committee for at least for their review. I didn't bring it with me, but
Yeah, I have it.
the application has already been approved. I think it's just for an extension of it. But nonetheless, we had to prepare something.
It's an administrative type of thing about an extension of their site plan approval. And I reviewed it and went through all the notes and provided some comments. And my comments were approved with the following conditions: to review and accept the landscaping plan with appropriate native and coastal plant species. There was mention about the interpretive signage per the CAFR permit. So that is something that I would hope that the Environmental Commission has a chance to review that. There was suggestion about posting a no idling signage in the area of deliveries, and I provided an example of the type of signage here. We have this posted in front of the nature center. Just basically turn your motor off when you're unloading. There's no need to run. And then the suggestion of an updated traffic study was recommended. So that's what we had provided to the planning board. The one thing that I want to talk about though, and I'm new to the commission, haven't been here a year yet, is that a lot of these things, and I know this project is somewhat controversial in town. A lot of people have opinions. A lot of people maybe wish that we came out stronger on this application, but the time to do that is sort of past. Back years ago when, before it went through the whole final site plan approval process with the planning board, or when it was being reviewed by CAFRA, there's comment periods for the public, but also for us as an environmental commission. We could provide comments to CAFRA, to the DEP in the review of the application. That's all I want to say, that as a commission, maybe we need to step up and really have a chance to look at the plans. I know Mike's the liaison for the planning board, but when new applications come through, as a commission, we should look at that as a group, not just have one person. I'm happy to do it because I do have a background in this with my career before working at the Nature Center. I did work in an engineering office, and I did do all of the environmental, land use applications, so I'm familiar with this. But it should be as a whole, that we should put the plans out, look at them, brainstorm what we think the environmental issues are.
So sorry for interrupting. I got a phone call saying that people are having a hard time hearing you guys. And I want to make sure that the microphones are working. We've been having a lot of problems.
Check.
Okay? That one works. Go for it.
Can you hear me?
A little bit louder, please.
Can you?
Hello, hello.
No.
That one's not working.
Not good,
So we'll
yeah.
switch them out, and then if everybody could please go around and double check, please.
Hello. Yeah, mine's working.
Hello?
I did that on purpose.
Yeah.
Everybody just take
I know.
Gretchen. So Gretchen, it's not working. I'll put that one. Thank you.
Try again.
I'm working.
Testing.
You got it. Dottie's working.
Yeah, hers.
I think I'm working, yes.
There's just always something, you guys, huh? Don't worry, it's not.
Should I start over?
Acknowledge.
No.
I mean, just real quickly,
No?
my point was, we made some comments on the Second Avenue Jetty Hotel project. Just, we are approving the application at this point with some recommendations that we still have a chance to review the landscape plan, the interpretive signage that was part of the CAFR permit condition, suggesting the use of no idling signage in the delivery area, and making the recommendation of an updated traffic study, because I believe the date of that was many, many years ago. And my other comment is just, as a whole, as commission, with the review of new applications, we have to be a little bit more proactive in looking at those applications from the beginning. And Mike's got sort of a conflict because he's also serving on the planning board. So I'm happy to do this role. I have a background in this from my previous work experience. I know some of you all also have experience. So, serving the role that we're here to do is to look at the environment, look at the land use in our city, and providing recommendations to the planning board, to council. We don't really have any real authority other than to be an advisory board, but we can do that. And
A little
That's all.
background. We, at the planning board, we never used to even have this opportunity to really review an application and actually submit a report for the review to the engineer. So as far as the package that everybody would get at the planning board, we never really did have this opportunity. Only the last few years have we really got it set up where now whenever a project is reviewed, it's automatically, the engineer is waiting for our review. And just like the Shade Tree Commission, just like the police, just like the fire, they're waiting for us to say something now, which is a good step. But it's taken us a while to get there. Now we're there. Again, it's a timing issue. We meet as a board here, as a commission here, like once a month. So timing of it, I'm not exactly sure how we're going to be able to review some of these applications as a group and then get them to the board in a timely fashion. So sometimes it's probably best that we certainly have an opportunity to get the applications and review them, but it may not be that the whole board gets a chance to, commission gets a chance to do that. So we're going to have to be accepting the fact that Gretchen, and I could probably help her, but then again, I haven't heard that. I'll have to listen to that whole thing as a member of the planning board at that meeting. So I think it's best that Gretchen would probably take the lead on that and then just make some suggestions. Again, these are things that the planning board, again, would look at and say, oh, this is a good idea, or this is not a good idea. But again, how much weight it has to them, it's up to the board at that point. But like the Shade Tree Commission submits something about a project, the police department would, the fire department would. So we do have an opportunity, and sitting on the board, if I know there's something there, an issue that we really want them to review, I'll make sure that they see it and they'll talk about it.
Mike?
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt, but Karen lets me know if there's an application.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to check the mailbox.
Well, I know that, but then physically getting to look at it, how are we going to get it to look at it, to get a report back to them in a timely fashion? That's always been a problem.
No, but if she lets me know that it's there, I'll pick it up and I'll get it to Gretchen.
Okay, that's
across
fine.
the street.
Is it electronic submittal?
Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not, but usually you get a big set of plans. There's no way you're going to want to look at that
blueprints and-
electronically.
Yeah, plumbing
spread
and
it out.
electrical and.
does anybody want to help me with this?
I would love to do that.
Okay.
I'd be really interested. Is it possible if we get it, like if we pick it up, can we just get a summary? Does that help, or we need everything?
There is no summary that's available to us other than the day of the planning board meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
Gretchen, I have a bit of construction background too, so I mean,
I don't, but I'm really interested in this. If I can be of any help, I will.
I
same.
think it's a great idea that everybody wants to have some input in this.
Yeah.
Thing. That's not a problem. I've just found it difficult in the past trying to look at it, get it to the board in a timely fashion.
It does sound like
been a
a
problem,
onerous
okay.
process.
So sometimes you just have to take the bull by the horns, and Gretchen's going to have to take it, look at it, put something down on paper and give it to us, because we have to have it like the day of the meeting.
Gretchen,
Karen
if
needs it.
you feel like I would have some input,
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I know your experience. I know what you used to do.
but the process is such that I probably have to come visit you at the nature center?
Sure.
Okay.
Yep.
I can,
So if the process in place that Merrill notifies me an application has come through, get that to me as soon as possible, and then I will contact Chris and Hope that we need to set up a time as soon as possible to
All
review
right,
the
that
application.
sounds like a workable.
And then I know that, there was a checklist that was used in the past. That's just a guide, basically, the Environmental Commission Site Plan Subdivision Checklist. It's helpful, but sometimes you do have to spend some time reading through the application, not only looking at the physical plans, but reading kind of the paper trail of what's there,
Okay.
so.
All right. Do you want to add into your, when I notify you, I send copies of the same email to?
Sure, copy all of us, Hope, Chris, and me,
Okay.
but I'll be the repository of the information, and then
Gretchen,
set-
you are the lead.
we'll set up a meeting then.
And then at that point, which I'm pretty sure this is what Gretchen did, it's a page report that she just fills out the whatever our comments are, what she thinks we ought to be addressing. And then she can just scan it and send it to Karen at the board, and then the board automatically gets it in their packet. All right, so everybody actually sees exactly what we wrote.
I have to tell you, I do not have knowledge of required signage, so I can't, and I have no input on that.
Okay. Anybody else have a comment? Like to speak? Okay. Next item is, topic of the day is providing drinking water for the City of Cape May, background information. Chris, do you want to say anything about this at all to start with? Do you want to bring anything up that you'd like to bring up?
Yes, I've been trying to reach Rob Comiskey and ask him about, potential issues, and his mailbox is full, and I cannot call him on the phone.
And who is he?
He is the city and water and sewer manager.
Oh, he replaced Carl?
Yes.
Okay.
What's his name? I'm sorry.
Robert Comiskey.
Okay.
So I've been trying to reach him for several days now, and I want to, because I can't email these questions I want to ask, because I want to ask about, is intrusion going to continue? And the answer is yes. Saltwater intrusion. What's the discussion of a new well, and what aquifers are going to be in? Plans for solar or wind at the new, proposed site? How is the Cohansey-Kirkwood or the Kirkwood-Cohansey aquifer? Do we have any further studies about the saltwater intrusion issues? I mean, because these studies were done 20 years ago, I believe. What's the salinity level currently at the, so those are, I don't want to get technical. I just would like to know, like, are we continuing on a level plane? Are we getting better? Are we getting worse? Originally, the plant was designed, my understanding, the plant was designed to take the water from the Atlantic City sands and then pump them back into, desalinate it and then pump it back, but they didn't understand the chemistry at the time. So that didn't work. It clogged the filters at the reverse osmosis filters. So then they started just doing straight out desalinization of the wells 4, 5, or 6. And then there's another well that's in the Kirkwood-Cohansey. And if you don't know the Kirkwood-Cohansey, it's one of the largest freshwater aquifers on the planet. It's an incredibly valuable resource. So we don't want to impact that as a community. We also provide water for West Cape May, Cape May Point. I guess one of the biggest users would be the Coast Guard base. They have 1,000 people there a day. Every recruit takes a shower a day, and so it's. So I would like to ask him some of those questions, and once I get to talk to him, I'll give you an update next meeting, and just see what the status of our. And there's a proposed project. I don't know if it's proposed, it's not funded, to put a new plan in with new reverse osmosis. I guess the technology is 25 years old. So the new technology, and then, I'm not very familiar with reverse osmosis, but I know it takes a lot of energy to run. And it's got a lot of waste product. So basically, you have 70%, the 100% of the water comes in, 70% comes fresh water, 30% becomes brine or wastewater. So what do you do with that wastewater? So there's other issues there. And that's a project we would definitely need to review. How's that?
Yeah, good. I know how old is the plant? Maybe 25 years? Any
I
idea?
think so.
20-some years?
Yeah, it's about that.
I think it's a
I know
it's a
through-
little newer, because I've been here 25 years, and it was after we came here. So it's probably under.
Actually, I put
Not
Charlotte
much.
Todd is actually on the phone here, but I know she was involved in that
Oh, well,
years ago.
she knows better than I do.
Right.
And that's right. That,
To your point, she got me to be secretary of the water board.
I mean, I know that they were involved heavily even before the city got involved in trying to see what to do with it. And I don't know if anybody have, I mean, Charlotte, would you want to say something? I mean, it's a little bit, this is like the public speaking, but I mean, Charlotte was involved in that years ago. Charlotte, can you want to say anything?
Sure. As an environmental commission person in the early 1990s, a whole committee was put together by the council then, and there were maybe 20 of us. And Mike Shovlin was the leader of the group, and certainly there were members of the community, including the
Well, I'm glad, listen, Charlotte, I'm glad you heard, you're here to say that, because I certainly couldn't have said it any better. The master plan does have an element on water conservation, and there's I suppose I could copy this part right from the master plan and actually give it to everybody, but it gives a good history of what the Environmental Commission has done over the years, which is amazing as that along, and what it's been, the effort of all these private citizens to help this project along. And Charlotte made, I'm not going to read this part of the master plan, but it's been in existence, and we're supposed to be, as a city, adhering to a lot of these items in this element. And I was amazed when someone made a reference to me about the ordinance, and this ordinance still is in effect, believe it or not. It's ordinance 946-92, 1997. I'm just going to read you a couple
I'm
of...
sorry, Mike, what was the number?
Ordinance 946-92. Actually, it's section 17-22 of 1997 revised general ordinances. It's still in effect. I'm just going to read you a couple of these items, believe it or not. This is watering of lawns, plants, and gardens is prohibited between the hours of 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. That's in effect. And it's not enforced, but that's in effect. Between May 15 and September 15, inclusive, outdoor watering of lawns, plants, and gardens shall be permitted before 10 a.m. and after 6 p.m. west of Madison Avenue on odd-numbered days. Everybody remembers these kinds of things, but this stuff
I
is...
remember this.
and odd-numbered days, and shall be permitted before 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. east of Madison Avenue on even-numbered days. And this, again, was help preserve water. It says, no outdoor watering shall be permitted between May 15 and September 15 inclusive on Saturdays, Sundays, or federal holidays at any time. Outdoor washing by hoses, it tells you watering of sidewalks and driveways by hose is prohibited except in emergencies or circumstances specifically approved in advance of the superintendent. No car washing shall be permitted between May 15 and September 15 on Saturdays, Sundays, or federal holidays. This is amazing to me. But anyway, this is still in effect, and maybe we can get this to, I can get this to everybody so they can at least, anybody else can take a look at it.
Is it possible that we could take that section by section and publicize it? Start maybe in middle spring, start putting it into the Star and Wave?
Well, that's one of the reasons why we're talking about this now. As a commission, we can do what we want to do here. But this is an intro to everybody, to get everybody up to speed, to figure out, is this a project we want to really start to go after?
I did not know that, anything you just said.
I didn't know it.
I did not know anything.
I remember it, and I remember adhering to it, and I'm not so sure I do anymore, except it's better to water before 10 o'clock in the morning. It's just better for your plants. But I remember when those things went into effect. And who remembers all of these? I just do. But you could publish them section by section, maybe the days of watering, put maybe block an ad in the Star and Wave and maybe even the Herald, or I don't know what. And then the next week, do another section of it and start in early spring.
Mike, if you give me a copy of the planning board page.
I will.
And the ordinance.
The master plan.
I will include both of those with the minutes and make a packet.
I think the thrust of what we're trying to figure out now is whether this is something we really want to go after and try and at least awareness, whatever the commission wants to do. I'll just kind of channel you through it, but this is everybody's got to get their thinking caps on.
Well, I think
But
it relates.
I got to tell you, when I bought my home in 1999, somebody made me aware of all of those issues. Now, it may be that I looked it up on the website. I doubt it. I doubt it because we had restrictions back home. But I'm pretty sure it came with the water bill.
Okay.
And that there was a newsletter that came with the water bill, and it clearly described every one of the water restrictions that we have in place.
Well, that's certainly not aware of. We probably should try and do that again, for sure.
Yeah.
I think that,
It was helpful.
yeah, if our next agenda item is to talk about education and outreach. It's time to do it again. We see all of the new construction happening in town. We know that some of the larger properties are adding units, so there's going to be more of a water demand. And it's time to, bring an awareness to people about what the rules are.
Absolutely.
Before we leave this part of it, I know that, Mike, I want to put you on the spot again, but they had that firm gave a proposal about the new,
Yes.
whatever, well, it was a new plant or a rejuvenation of the existing plant. Is there anything you could say about that project that one company proposed?
Well, I can tell you that what's being proposed is a brand new plant.
Okay.
The reason for building a new building is because it's now, what we have today is what I'm going to call two banks of desal tubing equipment, whatever it is. They work independently. I'm not sure if they're sourced by different wells, but I believe that either one of them can, process water from any of the wells. The new plant is designed to increase our capacity by 50%. It's adding a third section. What we have in place now, of course, is pretty much antiquated. It's not working as effectively. And as indicated, the amount of electricity, of energy required to pump water through each one of those sections is very high. And the new equipment would be more efficient, require less energy, and of course, increase our capacity. It's a $30 million project, and that is only going to be done if we can get the funding for it, which the company that's proposing to do this is proposing to get the funding. If we can't get the funding, then we'll go back to the drawing board and figure out what other ways we can go about this. I mean, can we rebuild, remanufacture what we have? Can we just add on to the build, those kinds of things. But at this point in time, the plan is we hope to get money to build essentially a new plant.
I mean, it's essential to me that we do that somehow.
It's somehow.
Somehow,
Yes.
yeah. Go ahead.
More if you want.
Go ahead, Charlotte.
Mike Yeager, I'm really happy to hear you talk about the project. I'd just like to say that as a taxpayer, I'd like to know how the council can look at allocating water for the larger users being taxed at a greater rate than those who stay within an allocated rate of cost per gallon. In other words, are the privileged allowed to use water indiscriminately over and above what our ordinances say and not be penalized in some way for their aggressiveness in spending our wonderful resource that we have? So I think that that's something maybe that the council ought to look at. There's another thing that we as an educational body, the commission over the years has tried to put that forward. There may be another opportunity for an educational campaign in a different way. For example, we have a wonderful
Thanks, Charlotte.
Okay, yeah, and Charlotte, I will make sure, I mean, that's the exact kind of thing I'm here for. I can definitely let council know that this is the kind of thinking.
Okay, that's fine. I see one of my planning board members is here, Bob Gorgone. He's been involved in this he has been involved in this process, so he knows more about it. Bob, do you want to say anything about it? I mean, this is kind of like open mic now. Anybody wants to say anything, it's me.
Just a couple of things on it. The only thing I know about the billing here for the water is the bill that I get. A little bit of background. I ran a private water utility for about 10 years at the Navy Yard, and my contractor was the Philadelphia Water Department. They did my O&M, operation and maintenance, so I do have some experience on that, including metering and what have you. We bill by meter size, okay, as well as having stepped rates based on quantity. So that's the way, people that are large users would be paying more and what have you, and having a larger meter. Some of our meters down at the Navy Yard were like $4,000 a month just for the meter fee. And that's like for a 12-inch meter. But anyway, that's aside. As far as the desal plant, my other background was working for the Navy for 27 years. And for 15 years, I was responsible for what was known as the Aircraft Carrier Service Life Extension Program, which was taking aircraft carriers that were at their useful life, 25 or so years, extending the life by another 15%, in other words, another 15 to 20 years, at 1/4 the cost of a new aircraft carrier. By the way, there is a reverse osmosis desal plant on the aircraft carriers. That's one of probably about 1 million components that we were responsible for modernizing. I was glad to hear that someone involved in the Navy was involved in this in the beginning. The Navy is still looking at the desal plants, the new ones. The Office of Naval Research is doing some research right now for lowering the energy costs, if you will, for the desal plants that are on the Navy ships. And the reason for that is Navy ships are going from steam to operate equipment to electricity, even on an aircraft carrier. They've replaced, on the new carriers, instead of using a steam catapult, for instance, they use electromagnetic. So they're trying to reduce their energy usage on board the ships so the energy can be used for weapons and other things that the ships are designed for. As far as the Service Life Extension Program, there are ways of doing diagnostics and what have you in machinery and equipment to determine what should be improved, what should be replaced, and other ways of reducing energy usage and what have you on existing equipment. So on the desal plant, perhaps you could take a SLEP concept, if you will, to increase the life of that. If you cannot get the $30 million, because ideally replace both units and put 3 units in to meet the capacity requirements. If not, put one new one in, because you're going to have to meet the capacity requirements according to the DEP anyway. And on the other ones, you do the diagnostics, and over a period of time, you could increase the useful life of those plants until you can get money to put in new plants. And even in the building, you could start with a smaller building. You're going to need a building in the future anyway. I know they wanted to remove the existing building ultimately to make room for to include the parking and what have you. So there are ways of doing diagnostics and taking a look at the existing plant, and there are companies that will do that, condition-based assessment of machinery and equipment. And it's just an idea for a plan B, if you will, if you can't reach receive the $30 million. So.
Thanks, Bob. And the other thing,
That's great input, yeah.
the other thing is, all
Thank
the infrastructure monies that they just proposed, the billions of dollars that nationally, and I'm sure New Jersey's getting a pretty decent amount of that. Now's the time probably really to go after that money.
That's exactly what the
Yeah,
thinking
really.
is.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, Mike Zampino or I-Guy, whatever, these guys, that's all they do is go out and bird dog those funds.
But if there's anything I can do to help with
Well,
ideas.
yeah, I'll be talking to you again, Bob, you know,
Not a
if we
problem.
can't get this 30 and we have to slim it down,
It's-
I think that we need lots of different ideas, and
Well, you can, this could stretch it out another even 15 years or so.
absolutely, absolutely.
And ultimately get, what's best for the city, which would be 3 new plants,
Yes,
but do it over time rather than all at once.
yes.
Thanks, Bob. Anybody else want to have any more comments before we move on quickly? I guess you want to talk about outreach? Somebody?
Sure.
Gretchen, please.
Okay.
Well, I have a proposal to the commission, and I can hand,
I made a few copies of it. I don't have enough for everybody, but, okay, where'd they go?
of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gave them all to you?
So listen,
It's coming
so before we actually get into Gretchen, just everybody, everything we just talked about on this, the water,
Coming over.
the plant, about conservation, just get your thoughts in order, and so maybe by the next meeting, we can have an idea which way we would like to go with that, as far as, from a commission point of view, okay? Okay, Gretchen.
So there is apparently funding in the budget as a commission to do outreach, environmental education outreach. And one of the ideas that we have, and I will not take credit for this, this is not a Nature Center of Cape May activity. This idea of what we're calling the Cape Island Ocean Festival, but that's just really preliminary at this point, is a new event to bring together residents and tourists of the Cape Island communities to provide the opportunity to learn about our beautiful and fragile natural world that we live in, and really focusing on our waters, the ocean, the harbor, could be our drinking water as well. And this type of festival, we're not talking about a huge event where we're, blocking off the street or anything. It's going to start small, and it would be on the grounds of the Nature Center. It would include short lectures and films, demonstrations, family-friendly activities and arts and crafts for kids, local artists with ocean-inspired artwork, nonprofit organizations for education. We at the Nature Center may propose a paddle and pedal for a purpose, a kayak and bike event to raise some money to support our marine science lab and our animals that we have on display, and food trucks and music. The idea of this festival could meet the needs of what's called a green festival, which the city's green team can use for points for certification, their sustainable Jersey recertification process. There is a green team meeting next week where I'll present this idea to them. We're looking for seed money to get started because any kind of festival does have some expenses, whether it's advertising, facilities, using the grounds of the Nature Center. There is, impacts on our facility, on our staff, and the idea was presented to the West Cape May Environmental Commission on January 12th, and they agreed to provide a $1,000 sponsorship, which would go to the Nature Center. And I'm here today to see if the City of Cape May Environmental Commission would like to partner in this event with providing seed money. We're looking for volunteers. We have a planning meeting this Friday at 1 o'clock at the Nature Center in our education hall. Masks are required. So it's really in the planning stages right now. This could be, we're calling it the first annual because this could be an annual event. The city used to have events down on the harbor. We had Harbor Fest. There were the dragon boat races. There were things that had happened down along Delaware Avenue that brought an awareness to our special harbor that we have. So that's part of it as well, is to kind of bring attention back to our special harbor. And it's evolving. It's this idea. There were some really enthusiastic people on the West Cape May Environmental Commission. They presented it to their own team to use the space where they hold the farmers market, and they kind of got some pushback. I can't tell you why, but so they came to me about using our facility at the Nature Center, and we're on board to explore this. So for right now, it's June 4th, the Saturday. It is the same day as the Strawberry Festival in West Cape May, but we don't think that that's a problem. We think that that's part of what we want to encourage people to do, is to ride bikes and to, you know, walk and get around town and explore the town. So we think people could go to both events. And ours is really more, we're not having vendors with, you know, arts and crafts all the way up and down the street. Very limited, and probably they would be juried artists. They have to be selected. They have to present what they have. So that's it in a nutshell at this point. And, you know, asking the commission if they would like to back it financially.
Mike, can I make a comment? When Gretchen sent me a copy of this, I contacted Neil Young to find out if we had funds in our budget for this. And Charlotte worked on a budget for 2022, and we submitted it. I'll send copies of all of this stuff in the with the minutes. But we've requested $5,000 for the commission. Part of it is green fair exhibits and handouts linking our green and blue resources, and in concert with the Nature Center and the green team. So we have established this as a priority, and I would suggest that we, as a commission, approve the expenditure of $1,000 of this.
Did that $5,000, was that approved by council?
No, but I don't know if we have any funds from last year, but if we don't approve it as a commission, then I can't write to.
Okay, no, I have no problem with putting this forward also.
I approve.
Yeah, me too.
I approve.
Okay, so anybody disapprove about providing these funds? Okay.
No, but I understand the next step would be for me to write to City Manager Vol and ask him to release the funds for this project.
That's fine, as long, and I also would like to get exactly what is our budget? What is our budget? We have to have something in our budget,
Well,
okay?
the budget, I don't think, has been approved.
Well, that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah,
You
right.
can also request to have that.
It hasn't been approved yet, but we can find out. Whatever's there is almost certainly going
Does that budget money roll over from year to year?
to.
I mean, money that we had not spent, or does it just go to general?
Well, that's an answer I don't have. I'd be surprised if it did. I would think that if you didn't spend it, this year's budget is this year's budget, and it's gone.
So
Correction.
approve the budget and then approve the $1,000.
Well, we don't have a budget yet, so.
Oh, well, okay, get a budget.
So we'll just approve the
budget,
$1,000, and
then-
somehow we'll find the money,
Someday
okay? We'll find the money somehow, okay?
But until it was voted on, I don't have a right to approve
Okay.
Mr. Vol.
Approach, send the letter.
You just ask for an advanced approval, so, because I'm sure that well, it's going to be a while until the budget's approved. We haven't even seen the whole budget yet.
What if I draft a letter to Mr. Vol and send it to you, and then you can make any changes that you think?
That'd be fine, absolutely. And I mean, we would just, there's certainly no problem in informing him now that once the budget's approved, that we are looking to release the funds to go to the nature center, or to this event, so.
Gretchen, would you like me to contact my contacts at the CPOA and see if they'd like to donate?
Yes, I mean, we'll talk about that.
Okay. You want,
Because we honestly already hit them up for.
oh, you did?
For some, no, I mean, we ask for support for the Nature Center for our summer camp. We
Okay.
give out scholarships to Coast Guard kids to attend camp. So, you know, I don't want to double dip. I want to make sure it's clear what we're asking for. And again, we're just starting this. And, you know, if the commission wants to see sort of our budget of what we're using the funds for, we can provide that. We are, again, just planning it all at this point. But having a little bit of seed money kind of, I don't know, gives us a little comfort, because as a nonprofit, honestly, at first when I was told about this, I was like, do I really want to take on the responsibility of another festival? And I'm saying we are not, this is not our event. This is a partnership of community members. We're looking for representatives from really all of the Cape Island communities. So you could also say Lower Township too. We've got West Cape May. We've reached out to some contacts at Cape May Point, and we were told that their environmental commission does not support things like festivals, but maybe there's a way around it. Maybe they can support, you know, funding for printed materials or something. Again, we're trying to connect the 3 environmental commissions and using this project as kind of a joint effort. And maybe, you know, taking a step back, water. Water is the issue here. Maybe we should call it the Water Festival or rename it. It's not just the ocean. Water is the thing that we have in common. And so.
Okay, Meryl, just go ahead and get rolling on that. Just move this forward, and we'll see where it goes, okay? But I think the commission obviously is in favor of the $1,000, so you have that support anyway, okay?
Okay, good.
Great.
Last item is public portion. Anybody else want to have anything to say?
I do have something that I received, there are a few copies. I received the communication from ANJAC, and this is last minute. It's this coming Thursday at 12 noon. There's a Zoom meeting, and the topic is Local Planning for Climate Change Toolkit. And on the back of this paper, which didn't print properly from my email, it says that ANJAC members have no charge to participate, but you must register at email.info.anjac.organization to receive the link to participate. Their programs are very interesting. You find out what's going on in environmental commissions throughout the entire state. And if there's anybody here who knows that they have nothing on their schedule at that time, I would love to know, because it would be good to get some sort of report back. I have a conflict. Some sort of report back on what was actually talked about.
I have a conflict also, otherwise I would tune in. Sorry.
So, did you get a copy?
Yes, you did.
Okay.
Last thing, very quickly. Seals are going to be coming down on our beaches soon, and we may want to look at that as signage. We have four types of seals here.
There was a thing on Facebook about that this morning.
Barber, and this is a marine mammal stranding center fact sheet. So we may want to just include those in the minutes from our solar. Because you see people walking up to seals and, you know, the dogs, all that stuff. So it's kind of a basic guideline, to leave them alone, basically.
Mayor, I'll put this on for next meeting, okay?
Can I take a picture of it?
Sure.
Oh, I have another copy.
I'll look it up, but. Yeah.
Anybody else?
It'd be a big packet, I may wind up dropping it. No, it's electronic, okay.
Anybody else have anything like to say? Anything? Charlotte, anything else?
No, thank you.
Okey dokey. About a month from now, next meeting date? When is that going to be?
It is, I don't know.
All right, well, anyway, you'll get a notice in the mail when our next meeting is.
Says February 20, it said 21, I think it's February 22.
Okay.
Thanks, Mike.
The 22nd.
Motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
And we were speaking for the longest time without anybody hearing, I guess.
All right, so we won't put the ones back that are, oh, wait.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't have a whole lot more to tell you yet, but.
We haven't stopped the recording yet.
Yeah. Yeah, I personally now have a conflict myself on that date. On like June 4th. It's my mom's 90th birthday, and we're trying to have a family reunion. So, I don't know, unless we end up changing the date